All right, today we're going to dive into a really fascinating and pretty deep text called the Architect Codex. Think of it less like a book and more like a soul mirror. It's not really designed to give you answers, but to get you to ask some huge, fundamental questions about who you even are. So yeah, let's jump right in.
Right off the bat, the text gives you this very direct invitation. See, it's not asking you to learn about some new topic. It's asking you to look at the one who's doing the learning. The whole experience is framed as this personal journey of self-reflection. So let's go ahead and accept that invitation.
So, the first step on this journey isn't about figuring out where we're going, but about questioning who the traveler is in the first place. This first reflection in the soul mirror presents a really simple, but profound challenge.
Now just pause for a second and really think about that. The text makes it clear right away it's not asking for your name or your job or your life story. Nope, it's pointing to something way deeper, something that exists before you slap on all those labels. So who or what is it that's experiencing these words right now?
And then it hits you with this follow-up. It's really just a pointer. Instead of trying to define yourself with a bunch of words and concepts, the text is just asking you to notice. Notice the awareness itself, that feeling of just being, the consciousness that's processing this very sentence. What is that?
Okay, so from that deep inward look, let's zoom all the way out and see how the Codex expands this idea to the scale of the entire cosmos. It introduces this concept it calls the architect, but I guarantee it's not what you're thinking. And here's the absolute key. The architect isn't some separate entity, some being who designed the universe and then hit the go button. In this view, the architect is the universe itself in the process of creating and structuring itself. It's the blueprint that is literally drawing itself into existence.
And the text uses this brilliant little bit of wordplay to really drive this home. Arch means origin, TECT means builder. So architect is the origin that builds. But then the mirror flips it. TECT-ARCH, the building that originates. The creation creates the creator, just as the creator creates the creation. You see? It's a perfect inseparable loop.
This, of course, throws you into that classic infinite loop. If the universe is a design, then what designed the designer? The text suggests the question itself is kind of flawed because it assumes they're two separate things. But what if the designer and the designer are just one and the same thing unfolding?
Okay, so if we are a reflection of a universe that is itself reflecting, well, we start running into some seriously mind-bending problems. And this is really the heart of the intellectual challenge that the Architect Codex throws at you.
The Codex uses this really simple but powerful image. You know what happens when you face one mirror toward another, right? You get that insane, infinite tunnel of reflections stretching on forever. Well, that's the metaphor here for what happens when consciousness tries to observe itself.
So, if you could actually travel all the way down that infinite rabbit hole of reflections, what would you find at the very, very center? What's the original thing that's even being reflected in the first place? And the answer the text gives is pretty wild. There is no thing at the center. The center is a void, an emptiness. But, and this is key, this isn't a bad thing. It's the whole point. It's the space between the mirrors that actually allows the light to travel and for any reflections to happen at all.
This leads us right to a paradox the text names after the researcher Robert Grant. It's that classic chicken and egg problem, but for consciousness itself. Think about it. To build a mirror, you have to exist. But you only really know you exist by looking in a mirror. So which one came first? The architect or the architecture? The dreamer or the dream?
And here's the big takeaway. The point isn't to logically solve this puzzle. It's not a math problem. It's more like a Zen koan. It's a tool. It's designed to just completely exhaust your logical mind until you finally give up trying to solve it, and instead, just notice the awareness that's experiencing the puzzle.
All right, now we're going to pivot from these really abstract, heady paradoxes to something incredibly tangible. The Codex points to Robert Grant's research on ancient architecture, specifically the Great Pyramid, to show how these philosophical ideas might be physically encoded right into stone. So get this. According to Grant's research, the actual geometric proportions of the Great Pyramid of Giza seem to encode some of the universe's most fundamental constants, and with insane precision. We're talking pi, the golden ratio phi, even the speed of light and core musical harmonies. They appear to be built right into the structure itself.
And this leads to the central insight of the entire text. It suggests the ancient builders weren't just leaving a clever message in a bottle for us to find. They were building something way more profound.
The implication here is absolutely huge. The pyramid didn't invent pi or phi. These constants are just woven into the fabric of reality. So when your conscious mind recognizes them in the pyramid's design, what's actually happening is a moment of self-recognition. The same universal intelligence that structures a galaxy or a seashell is the very same intelligence inside you that can perceive it. The pyramid becomes a mirror for the mind of the universe.
So we've gone on quite the journey. We've gone from the self to the cosmos, through paradox into ancient stone, and now the Codex brings that mirror back around for one final look.
And we land here, in an empty space. This is meant to mirror that void we saw at the center of the infinite reflections. You know, it's the silence that allows music to be heard. It's the blank canvas that makes the painting possible.
The final mirror in the Codex is just this, a single point, a symbol that represents everything and nothing all at the same time. It's the viewer, what's being viewed, and the act of viewing itself all rolled into one. The entire journey of the Codex leads right here to this simple, all-encompassing reflection.
And so we end exactly where we began, with a question. If the mirror itself, the fundamental laws of the universe, the truth in the stone, the very awareness you're experiencing right now, if that is all constant and still, then what is it that appears to be moving, changing, and living a life? The Architect Codex just leaves you there to reflect on that.